Hello, how are you guys doing? Today we're gonna make chicken soup as we know it in Germany, as I know it from my childhood. And what we need is we need some onions. Usually you take the bigger onions, like 2 big onions. I have only these few left, but that's all right. Come over here. And you need some chicken. You can use pretty much whatever chicken you want to use. You can also use the big chickens, like for soup. You need 1 like green vegetables for soup. That's celery, green onion, carrots, and some parsley. I already washed that here. And then you just need some water for the soup, some herbs, for example bay leaves I'm gonna use, and whatever you have home, like oregano, parsley. You can put more parsley. Rosemary is good, just whatever you like. But that's kind of the ones you can use. And I'm going to start now by preparing all the vegetables, by cutting the onions. I like to peel them. There's different ways of making the chicken soup. You can make it as a stock, where you put all the vegetables inside and you don't even like cut them and peel them. And then you filter them out, because the vegetables are gonna give away all their taste to the soup, to the water. So some people like to take them out since they have nothing really left inside. And if you do that, you don't have to peel them, obviously, since you're going to take them out. But I prefer to leave them inside, because then you have something like more thick in the soup. And that's why I like to peel them all. Well, now I peeled the onions and I'll cut them into chunky pieces. It doesn't need to be very fine, but since I'm gonna leave them inside for eating them later, I'm gonna cut them into pieces like this. You see? Not too big, not too small. You don't want big onion pieces inside. Carrots, you can leave the skin or take it off if you want. I'll take it off, since also I'll leave the carrots inside in the end. Just peel them. Now I peeled about 4 carrots. You can use a 5th or no, I'll see later if I need it. And we have celery, a piece like this. It all comes like in a bundle. And what you do with the celery, I washed it already, and you also like take a little bit of the skin. It's easier like that. It's easier to do with a small knife than with the big knife, because here you have more movement. And you just want to take these parts off and a little bit of this also, but only very thin, because we don't want to throw away the product, you know. Now I have this big green onion. You take off like the tip and the bottom. You want to put these aside if you don't take out the vegetables. As I said, I'll leave them inside for eat later. I'll leave them in the soup. That means I'll take off the ends of the onion, and I'll take off the ends of the carrots too, because you don't want to eat those later in the soup. And then you just cut all these things into little pieces. Like, it doesn't need to be too little, but like how you want them later in your soup. I'm going to cut them into little discs like this. You can also, if you have a very thick carrot, you can also part it like that, but you just cut them into pieces as you want to eat them later. Now we also cut the onion into pieces. I'm just cut them like this. Then you have, like, when you take them apart, these big pieces kind of. Cut it into chunks. Always think about how you want it in the soup later. So not too big, not too small. If you want them small, you can make them small, obviously, but you don't have to. The celery I make into little cubes. Easiest way is like this, kind of like cutting an onion. Just cut it into this pieces, and then you go like this. Careful with your hand, obviously. but then you cut it into kind of like sticks, and you can just from the top cut them into these pieces. See, like that. Okay, we're gonna prepare the chicken too. I have these chicken legs here. Altogether it's about 1 kilogram. And I'll take off the skin because I'm not gonna take the meat out later. As I was saying, you don't have to take off the skin of a whole chicken if you use that, because the whole chicken you have to take out after a while when it's cooked anyway. But I'll tell you more during the cooking process. But if you use, for example, like legs like this, you can take it off before. Then you don't have to take out the leg later, because the cooking process will make the meat so tender that it falls off the bone, and then you just in the end have to take out the bones out of the soup and the skin if you don't want to eat the skin, because it's not, I don't like it so much when it's not crisp. It's kind of gooey. Now we start cooking. I put a big pot on the heat where all the soup is gonna go later. I'll turn the heat up to the highest right now and wait for it to get hot. There's different ways how you can make this now. You can just put all the vegetables and all the chicken inside here, put water and heat it up, and cook the soup. What I like to do is I roast the vegetables a little bit before. So I put a little bit of oil so it doesn't stick so much. Wait for it to get a little bit hot, but it doesn't need to be smoking hot right in the beginning. Take the vegetables. I also chopped the parsley. You can use a little bit more than that. I didn't have so much anymore. And then you can just put everything inside with the oil. You put the onions, the carrots, the green onion, the celery, not the parsley yet. You don't want to roast the parsley, but all the vegetables can go inside. This we keep for later. And stir it through a little bit. And it's not so hot yet, but we just wait for it to get hot and roast just a little bit. And now it's been roasting for just a little bit. I will also put the chicken skin right here. Delicious. On the heat a little bit to reduce down just a little bit. And so now all that's been roasting together. We're gonna put the chicken legs inside. 1, 2, 3. Oh, there was some more skin. And we add the water now. I have here a cup, and I'll get 2 liters of water, of cold water. And that's almost 3 liters. Because some of it is going to evaporate because we're going to cook it for quite some time. Yes, and now we're going to season it too. Still have it on high heat until it starts cooking. I'm going to take salt. I'll put some salt. Like this much for now. We can always add some more later. Also, you definitely want to put bay leaves. I don't have so many left. I'll just put the rest. And I have the chopped parsley that goes inside now. And also I have some barley that was frozen. I'll also put that. And you can put what you like. And this is like this is like the base of what you always want to put, like parsley and bay leaves. And then you can also put rosemary. You can put some thyme if you want. I don't have so much at home right now, so I'll put a little bit of cumin. Just because I have it and I like it with some meaty stuff, not so much. A little bit more, like this. And I have some, what's it called in English? Muscat, what's it called in English? You know? Oh, I remember. And we put that inside too. Rather put a little bit less than you think you have to put in the beginning, because you can always add later. And now we're gonna mix it a little bit. Also, you want to add some pepper, but I'm gonna add that later too. Or actually no, I'm gonna put it right now. I have this fresh ground pepper. You can kind of see how much I put. Not too much. You can always put some later again. But the point of putting all the seasoning in right now is that it's going to cook together with the vegetables and the chicken. Yes. Right now it's still cold, but we're going to bring it up to a boil. So I keep the high heat and put a lid on top and wait till it gets bubbles. Now you see it's cooking quite hot. That's the time where you want to take the heat on low. I have level 3 out of 9 now, because you don't want it cooked too much, you just want it simmering a little bit. If you cook it all the time, the water evaporates too much and it cooks the vegetables and everything too much. So I put it to low heat right now and leave it for about 2 hours. Chicken will be cooked, everything will be cooked, and then we'll add some pasta and it will be okay. Now it's been cooking for 2 hours about, and you can see it's still simmering. I also have put inside, I bought a little bit of these, it's Italian herbs. Put a few of these inside. It's like thyme, oregano, and rosemary, I think. Yeah, now you already see that the bones are coming off. You can see it very nicely here. You can just take them out like this now. That means that the meat is cooked through, and you can take the skin out also if you don't want to eat it, as I don't want to. Yeah, you just look through it a little bit and you take out bones and skins and whatever you don't want inside, like this. I'm just gonna take it. Now we're gonna give it a little taste and see if we need more seasoning. Let's see. Pretty good. I don't think it needs much more. Add a little bit of salt. And a little bit of pepper, it needs too. And if it's too thin for you, you can either leave it cooking for a little while, or you can put some instant stock inside. It also obviously makes it taste better, like chicken. Yes, and now we're gonna put frozen peas. This is the point where the soup itself, like the ground recipe, is done. Now it's like finished, and you can put whatever vegetables you want, and also like rice or pasta. I'm gonna put some frozen peas inside. You can also put like broccoli or what was that? Broccoli or beans or whatever you want, you can put inside. And also I put some pasta. I have like these small noodles that you just put inside. If you want to freeze it, I recommend you cook them separately to the soup, because if you freeze it with the pasta is going to get very mushy. But we're going to eat it these days, and we don't care so much that it's mushy. So we just put like, I think this is good. This is like 300, 400 grams, something like that. And what it's going to do is it's going to cook, and when you eat the soup, it's going to be more rich tasting, or it's going to make you full easier with the pasta inside. You can also put rice, whatever you want, a little bit more. It's been cooking now a little bit. The noodles are soft and the peas are cooked, and it's ready to serve. Also, the chicken broke down during the process of searching bones. We'll find out if I have done a good job. So you can serve it, you put a little bit of parsley in the end. Nice like that. And eat it with bread or whatever you want, and it's finished. Well, thank you for watching. We hope you enjoy our little tutorial on the recipe. And we're just gonna eat it now, and feel free to like and subscribe, of course, and have fun cooking it too.